Yeah, Clayton. I got some money that I could tap into as to equity, and I'd like to just look at different options along those lines because I have a feeling that the real estate market is either going to pull back or completely collapse as this moratorium on mortgage payments and evictions ends. And I'd like to be prepared to buy things for cash at that moment. Uh, just your thoughts. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Well, I think you're right in reading these tea leaves. And what he's talking about is two different markets, I believe. Again, whenever you watch these news headlines, you're going to see stories about the retail housing market. Okay. And the retail housing market is your husband and wife who have a child, they move to a school district and they move in and they buy their first house. And that's the retail housing market. So all of the headlines you ever see on CNBC or Fox or any place else is always about the retail housing market. It's never about what we do here at Morris Invest and what we teach you to do, which is investing in real estate. The only thing there's a bleed over is in when it deals with interest rates. And we're seeing interest rates going up, and they're going to continue to go up a little bit. Not very much, but they're starting to move in that upward direction. So Mike is right. If he lives in a house that has equity, now is the time, in my opinion, to get a home equity line of credit lined up at the current rates with the current amount of equity. There's no better time than the present. Now, the difficulty is going to be for Mike is in finding a bank that does home equity lines of credit. They're out there. You just need to shop around. You can go to lendingtree.com is a good place to look if you want a broader approach, but start to call your local banks, ask them about home equity lines of credit, and lock it in at these rates. Now, when you get a home equity line of credit, you're getting zero balance. Like they're giving you a line of credit. So you start with a zero balance. It's not like they're writing you a check. You do not want the one which is I forget the name of it. I never use it, but it's where they just basically cut you a check. Now you're in debt already. Like they've cut you a check. Now what do you do with it? No. You want to be able to use it almost like a credit card. You have this equity. You have this line of credit. In many cases, they give you a debit card. They give you a checkbook. And they'll give you 80% loan to value on the value of your property. And then take that and sink that into some great properties when they become available. And Mike is also correct that I believe that there is going to be a run. I mean, we're now heading to the Supreme Court with this eviction moratorium. What's going to happen at the Supreme Court? Will they uphold the Biden administration's moratorium on evictions? We'll see. Once we know that a number of homeowners are highly behind in their mortgage payments and have in fact gone beyond the mortgage moratorium or mortgage phase where forbearance phase of 6 months and beyond, and they're not able to get caught up, we've been basically kicking the can down the road on a lot of this because of the pandemic. So you might see a lot of headlines about how this economy is booming and recovering, but there's a bubbling that's underneath the surface. And that bubbling is this eviction issue, and it's this mortgage forbearance issue for people that were not able to get caught up in their mortgages. They're going to have to pay them, or they're going to have to foreclose. And that's going to be a national issue in a short amount of time, unless the Biden administration can step in and do something about it, some sort of a mortgage forgiveness program where the Fed is actually going to help banks and bail out the banks. Heck, they do it on Wall Street, and able to do it for American people instead of just the billionaires on Wall Street. We'll see. So Mike is right in starting to line up some of this capital right now and tapping into the equity of your home. Remember, you cannot eat equity. So if you're sitting on equity, being able to leverage that money in order to buy other investments right now is an absolute no-brainer. So thank you for the question, Mike. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Just go to morrisinvest.com/Clayton. You can leave us a voicemail question, and we will attempt to answer it here on the show. Try to keep them to about 30 seconds or less if you can. Now, go out there, take action, become a real estate investor. I believe it's the number one way to build wealth. We'll see you next time, everyone.